So we got the Bronica. The model is the ETRSi. I've got 3 film backs. I've got 2 120s and I've got a 35N. The 120s I tend to keep 400 or 200 ISO in the one and 100 ISO in the other. It just allows me to change for conditions, light conditions, if light conditions change while I'm out. So today I'm going to show you how to load the 120 film into a 120 back. I'm also going to show you how to load the 135 film, the 35mm film, into a 35mm back, and I'll also show you how to put the 135 film, the 35mm film, into a 120 back. So let's crack on. So we've got our 135N. There is a 135W, which gives you a panoramic view on a 35mm film. First of all, get the insert out, press the 2 levers, pull out the collapsible crank, and the insert pulls out. I've got a roll of Kentmere 400, 24 exposures. It's a roll of bulk loaded myself, and you've got the cutout which coincides with the lug. You want the film coming out the bottom, so you insert the film like that, pull it out slightly, oops, now here you need to go in between this plate and the pressure plate. So insert it in, oops, until it comes out the other end, as such. Then you need to insert it into one of the slots on the take-up spool. Just give it a bit of a wind. Give it a bit of a wind so it engages nice and tight, and then to insert it back in, make sure the take-up spool, the collapsible crank rather, is pulled out. Insert this end first and then drop it in. Make sure the collapsible crank goes back in and is engaged, and basically close the back. On the take-up winder there is a little arrow, so you turn that in the direction of the little arrow and you wind it on until you get one in the window. As such, and then you can put it onto the back, and that is how to load a 35mm film into a 35mm back. So what you need for 35mm in a 120 back are some adapters. You got the take-up spool adapter, so it just fits the 35mm film, and the 2 ends to put into the canister to make it the same size as 35. You got a little lug, I'll show you. You got a little lug and you got a big lug. The big lug goes in the bottom and the little one goes in the top, so it sits on top of the film. If you put it in the wrong way around, basically the one with the big lug won't sit on top of the film and it'll leave a gap and you won't fit that into the canister. So you need to make sure it's that way around, so it goes in. So now we've got the 120 back and we're going to put a 35mm film into this. So again, the two levers push, opens the back. Now this has not got a take-up spool in it. If you're not certain where to put the take-up spool, basically you have a red dot on the one side and no dot on the other side. So the take-up spool always goes on the side without the red dot. So insert the take-up spool as such. So put them on. Now what you need is the film coming out the bottom. Make sure that this bit is sticking out and not stuck underneath, otherwise you won't be able to pull your film out. Bend the film over the pressure plate, insert it into there, just make sure it's connected. Insert. If you're not certain which way round it goes, whether it's that way or that way, if you look, there's a cog on this side, there isn't a cog on that side, and if you look at the holder, there is a slot here which accepts the cog, so obviously the cog goes through the slot, so it'll go in that way round. Close the back. Now take the dark slide. I've took the dark slide out, you don't need to do this, but I'm just showing you the orientation of the film. Because you've got all this space which is exposed, you won't get the full 120 size film, but what you will get is an exposed film all the way through from side to side. So it's what you call sprocket hole photography. Now I'll show you an example of this. So you know, it is quite cool when you can do that. So I'll put the dark slide back in and advance the film again till you get to number 1, and that's basically 35mm in a 120 back. Now loading a 120 film into a 120 back, basically take the film out, always strip the tab off and put the tab into there so I know exactly what's in there. That's an important part, because otherwise you don't know what film speed you've got set in there. And when you're changing backs, you do need to change the film speed on the camera, so you do need to know what's in these. Now you've got to be careful with 120 film, because 120 film you've got basically just film which is sandwiched between the paper. So the first thing we'll do is we'll get this ready. Again, to open the back, two lugs, push them in and it comes out. Now you can take out the insert. You need a take-up spool, which I have here. It's basically just an old one of these. You never throw them away because you need them. The take-up spool will go in the opposite one to where the red dot is. The red dot is to line up the film. but if you're not sure where to put the take-up spool, it goes into the opposite one to the red dot. So push that out. I'll get that one ready. Put the take-up spool in, close this, and that's ready now to accept the film. This is Photopan 100 black and white film. It's all I shoot film wise. I've got digital cameras to do colour work and that, but black and white is all I shoot in film photography. Open the film up. That's quite well stuck down, so I'm not going to try and remove that. It's better if you can get it off, but obviously that's well truly stuck. Now get your film back and get this, and it's got start, so it goes in this way with the film at the bottom. Line it up on the bottom, close the top, make sure it's connected. Make sure you hold it tight because the film is only trapped between paper and you don't want to expose it, so make sure it's kept tight. Bend the paper round the pressure plate and then take up, insert, it's quite fiddly, but insert into the take-up spool, wind the take-up spool, making sure that the paper is trapped. Keep this tight, but not too tight that you snap the paper, and just keep winding it until the line lines up with the red dot. Now again, if you're not certain which way round to put this, you have the cogs and you have the slot. So make sure the cogs go through the slot, and that's done. Then close the back basically. Make sure the light dark slide is inserted. It's alright at the moment because the film isn't actually there yet. Reinsert the dark slide, and then basically you got the S, and there is a little arrow there which shows you which way to turn it, and basically you turn it round until you reach 1. Which is there. So that's now on 1, and that is ready to shoot. Like I say, I've got 2 film backs. In the one film back I keep 100 ISO film, whether it's Photopan or maybe Ilford 1 HP5 or Delta 100. In the other film back I keep 200 speed film or 400 speed film, and this allows me to swap over, and basically depending on the light on the day, because you never know what the light's going to be till you get there, it allows me to change. I've only got the 2 120 film backs, and obviously I've also got the 35mm film back. So that is basically how to deal with a Bronica ETRSi film back loading. Basically we're in the process of creating the darkroom. We've got to finish the roof. The roof's going to have a rubber seal on it. We've got a bit more work to do to the outside, and then basically inside we've got quite a bit of work to do, but I hope to get finished in a month or 2. There's quite a lot of room in here. We just got to finish the walls. We've got the plasterboard, we'll put plasterboards on the walls, and there'll be a sink in this corner here, and photographic enlarger by the door with the trays between the sink and the enlarger. On that side, it's just going to be shelving, and on the back wall there's going to be a screen to play my Super 8 videos on.